Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch Break with the Rabbi. Today is Thursday, April 8th, 2021. It is also the 26th of Nisan, getting ready for this week's Torah reading of Shemini, number 8. Just a quick reminder that we will be starting a new JLI course starting April 27th, which is going to be on It Can Happen, and especially today it holds of great importance, as over 30 years ago, the Rabbi reminded us all to do everything we can to make it happen, the coming of Mashiach. And you can learn about what is Mashiach, how we can make it happen, joining our course. It's going to be starting at April 27th for 6 Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. You can find out more information about it on our website, jewishally.com. Today, we read about Moses and Aaron, how they both work in unison and work together to bring about the divine presence within the tabernacle. For 7 days, Moses acted as the high priest, teaching Aaron and his sons what they should do in order to perform the practice in the Holy Temple, the different sacrifices, how they were brought in different occasions and different times. And then finally, on the 8th day, Aaron is the one who brings the sacrifices and starts the running, so to speak, of the actual temple with his sons in charge, bringing those sacrifices. And as we read in this week's Torah, there's also an unfortunate episode where Aaron's two eldest sons unfortunately pass away at the same time because of their quest to become completely holy. They expired and their soul left their body. But we read about two individuals, Moses and Aaron, both of them great saintly people, both of them working in the same goal to bring about the divine presence in the tabernacle and in this world. But each one of them have a different dimension. Moses has his way of doing it, while Aaron has his way of doing it. What does this mean? Every single unique concept that exists is unique to a specific person. The Talmud explains the same way we don't look alike, we don't think alike, the same way we don't have the same two missions in this world. That's in the micro. But in the macro, every person in general has two different ways of accomplishing things in this world. There's either bringing up, uplifting the bottom, or bringing down holiness from above. Moses was an individual who brought holiness from above into this world. He was a person who is greatness. He was a prophet like no other, a scholar like no other, a relationship with God like no other, that the Torah attests that there was nobody that had a relationship with God like Moses had. But his entire being was about bringing the wisdom of God into this world. Whether you understood it or not, whether you were a student who was able to comprehend the great wisdom that Moses taught was not part of the deal. Moses was a person who just shared wisdom of God. He went on high and brought down the holiness from on high into this world. So when it came to the teaching of the laws of the tabernacle and the sacrifices, Moses for 7 days continued to teach these laws of the sacrifices to Aaron and his sons. And once completed, he gave a blessing to Aaron and his sons, and he said, "Yiratzin, may it be the will of God that the divine presence rest in your hands." But now it was up to Aaron. What was Aaron's job? The opposite. Aaron had to then take everything of this world. He had to take those physical sacrifices. He had to take those physical people who were coming to bring sacrifices and uplift them, bring them closer to God. That was Aaron's deal. There's a story told about the first Chabad Rebbe, who went around with other students of the Maggid of Mezrich to collect money, especially for people who were thrown into the dungeons because they couldn't pay their landlords, or for whatever other reasons of helping Jews. And he once came to a town, and he did his regular, usual collection. But then he passed by a very big, beautiful home. And he asked the townspeople, "Who lives here? How come we didn't go to this home for a collection?" So they said, "This home This belongs to the town miser. He is the wealthiest person in town, but wouldn't give a dime to charity. The Alter Rebbe said, the first Chabad Rebbe said, well, I'm going to go to him. And the Alter Rebbe knocks on his door, and he asks the fellow for a donation. And the fellow gives him some old rusty copper coin. The Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, takes the coin and is about to leave. As he's about to leave, the fellow, the rich man, comes chasing him and says, no, here's another copper coin. He says, okay, so he took the next copper coin. And as he is about to leave again, then he gives him one silver coin. And then he gives him 5 silver coins. And as he's about to leave, and every time the episode repeats itself, every time the first Chabad Rebbe is about to leave the rich man's house, he keeps running and giving him more money and more money and more money. Until finally he asked the first Chabad Rebbe, what's your budget? What do you need to cover? He says, well, we need this amount of ruble to be able to help this young man. And he gave him the entire donation needed. The people were astounded. Never before has this miser ever given a time, ever shared a rusty kopek. How much more so to pay for the entire bill? How did you do it? And the first Chabad Rebbe explained to them that in order for a person to give, we have to be willing to accept. Until now, this person was always rejected. He never had the opportunity to express himself fully and to show that he can give. He never realized that within himself he can have such an appreciation of giving. And only once I took the first kopek and he saw how good it felt, he started giving more and more and more. And once now he's opened, he developed into a full charitable, philanthropic individual. At times, we don't realize that by helping another person, we are indeed helping ourselves. We feel so locked and we think that we have everything is because we earned it, we deserve it, and nobody else. We live in a time, in a world, where entitlement is the predominant feature. Everyone feels entitled to something or somewhat or some way. Nobody feels that why should I get that and why should I get that? I'm entitled to it. I should have it, whether I worked for it or not. The concept of giving, sharing, recognizing that when we share and when we give to another person, we are not only helping that individual, but we are truly helping ourselves. The difference between Moses and Aaron. Moses shared wisdom from above, regardless if the person was a vessel for it or not. Aaron cultivated the people here to be able to change and understand and realize what they are receiving by actually giving. How did Aaron do it? And our sages explain, because Aaron was a person who loved peace, pursued peace, and was a champion for every individual. This week we begin to start to study the ethics of our fathers. And Hillel says, be of the students of Aaron in Ethics of Our Fathers, chapter 1. Be of the students of Aaron, one who loves peace, pursues peace, and brings every creation of God, close to Torah. Aaron saw a person for who he is in the state of being where they were. Aaron realized that we can overcome the differences by giving love, peace, and happiness to every person around us. When we share that concept of love, when we share the concept of unity, when we recognize a person for who they are, a creation of God, the godly intellect that's in them, we can then cultivate them, bring them closer to God, and give them the appreciation of giving and sharing so they too can be a giver. But the only way to do that is to recognize the good that every single person has within. And this is what Aaron did. And it was because Aaron had this trait, he was able to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and take every Jew who came from wherever they may be, regardless of the sin that they have committed, bring their sacrifice to the holy temple, and accept it as an offering to become close to God. It is for this reason that until today, it is the priest, the Kohen, who blesses the Jewish people. Because it is only the Kohen who has that innate natural love for every single Jew that can bless the Jewish people wholeheartedly. Our sages tell us Aaron wasn't just a Kohen for himself, but he gave that over to every single one of us. We can all be Kohanim. We can all have that respect and love for every single human being. Recognize their greatness for who they are, a creation of God. And the more we give, the more we share, the more we understand and appreciate the greatness of the human being, and we recognize it within them, and we help them cultivate that appreciation, the more we get in return, the more we will see how the world will be at peace. And not only in a macro way, but even in a micro way, how every single individual will be able to live to their potential, seeing God's blessing in everything they do. Thank you for joining me today on Lunch Break with the Rabbi, wishing you a good Shabbos, all the best, and a great week ahead. God bless.